Look out.
Jack, you're getting blues. I'll kill you. Yeah, fuck you too.
La Erendida.
Yes!
The whimsical brat. La Erendida is a troublesome plant. If you offer her Darwin, she would rather have Kant. When you serve her up Kant, her taste turns to Hegel. But when you proffer Hegel, she's enamored of Wolfe. If you set her up with James, she'll gravitate to Blake. If you gravitate to Blake, she'll prefer Mark Twain. Yes, La Erendida is a troublesome plant. But there isn't any call for me to shout it, for she will think what she do think, and there's nothing you can do about it. La Erendida is a terrible tease, for when she answers yes, it's a qualified no. That's about a question with a cat's paw ease, and a Cheshire cat grin, and a lilting tremulo. Yet there's nothing to be got by. Your opinion, please? Her mind is like a poem, with a stanza left to go. Yes, La Erendida is a terrible tease, and there isn't any use for you to doubt it, for she will do what she do, and there's no doing anything about it. This is the song to the Jellicle Brats. AJJSAH. AJJSAH. Jellicle brats are quite petite. All right, that means they're rather small. Jellicle brats have dancer's feet. They move with grace at the waltzing ball. Jellicle brats, one plays the trumpet. Jellicle brats, and trills the flute. Jellicle brats will eat a crumpet if Sarah bakes it, so that one's moot. Jellicle brats reflect precisely. Jellicles like their questions big. Nevertheless, some write concisely. Their words do no waltzing. They stamp out a jig. Jellicle brats take up Wolfe's outlook. Jellicle brats recite Sun Tzu. Jellicle brats can play Iago. Jellicles play Othello, too. And until the Jellicle moon appears, they watch their manners and bide their time. Jellicles don't alert their peers. Jellicles never give a sign. They're harmless, it seems, as the sunlit bowers. They soothe like a drowsy afternoon, reserving their Clytemnestrian powers by the light of the Jellicle moon. I'm telling you, boys, be careful.
Real good.
Jellicle brats aren't fond of fruit flies. Jellicle brats are fond of song. Jellicle brats aren't things to misprise. See that you do no Jellicle wrong. For then, by the light of the Jellicle moon, they'll raise themselves up in a Jellicle pack and jellically teach you the meaning of doom. The sly, undefendable, ego unmendable, heart-stopping Jellicle counterattack.
Yeah, ladies.
I repeat the inscription. There, puny human, now leave us alone. As for Taylor Bradshaw, you're on your own. Nice couplet, eh? T.S. Eliot. I'm on my own. This is a short poem entitled Longing. It's entitled, At last Taylor Bradshaw explains herself by means of her inner Victorian. 'Tis not every day that I fitted am to speechify. No, but when another fills my loquacious panicles full of ire, then I will prophoretically spill. Thus inflamed my thoughts are sped like the Sibyls from my head. Hearken then, O Ian, O Lee, I could take you down in three. If instead composed I do, myself 'tis owed, not to thee.
Yeah. Taylor?
Gabriel Ladd.
Again?
Star Child.
Gabriel Ladd has not lived a long time. He's the dangling end of the temporal succession. So why celebrate him in this seedy rhyme? What nugget of fame is his proper possession? Well, Gabriel Ladd has lived through 9 lives, or more. I am tempted to count 99 of the books by which Integral prospers and thrives, which account for the life of the lives in his mind. And here as I pass, I'll reveal my metonymy. Young Gabriel Ladd is quite old. Old as old Deuteronomy. And old Deuteronomy sits in the street. He sits in the street, High Street, on market day. A new metronome, of course. High Street for Integral, tutorial or seminar for market day, just for the freshmen. You're welcome. Observing the welter of deeds and of speech, and weighing, as ever, the just thing to say. And when sheer disputation o'erpasses the curb, the villagers put up a notice, road closed, so that nothing untoward may chance to disturb Deuteronomy's rest, his contemplative pose, when engaged in arranging his inner economy. And so once again I'll reveal my metonymy. We're transfigured as memories in old Deuteronomy. This is the epic of the dire confrontation of the Ians and Kazetikos and the intervention of the great Reynoso brand. Young Ian and Kazeto, as everyone knows, are proud and implacable, passionate foes. So when Ian breathes, yay, Kazeto sniffs, never. And the lads and the lees, although most tutors say that they're solid as slate, yet any old day, if they're gottied enough, will join in the fray, then they yak, 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 till the tutor shows signs of a heart attack. Now, on the occasion I'm bound to report, Cornelius had parried Cozzetto's retort by quoting Augusta, his usual fort, to which she replied with an audible snort, which the cowering tutor played off as a joke while he wished for a chance to slip out for a smoke. As all over the room, glances started to meet, then belligerent glares that proclaimed no retreat, but for Taylor and Aaron, who stared at their feet. While Cozzetto and Ian both rose from their seats and started to yak, 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 till the tutor felt sure of a heart attack. Now, our Ian, though people may say what they please, is only half integral. He speaks theologies. So the class theists, both of them, rose up as one, invoking the Spirit, the Father, and Son, intending to finish what Ian had begun. And their eyes they rolled, and they waved their fists, and they called down curses on materialists. Now, Cozzetto shrinks not from the bare fist meme, and differs from stiletto by a mere phony. So she led off at once, putting on the sly smirk, with her mildest jibe, to wit, Ian, you jerk. So it was yak, 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 yak. And the tutor prayed for a heart attack. Now the tutor was poised on the verge of tears as the fruit fly mamas stopped their larvae's ears. But in great Reynoso, alone in her seat, there swelled righteous ire and a gathering heat. So she rose up in anger and ended the fight with Kant in her left hand, Rousseau in her right. Wake up, the pure savage that dwells in your heart. Compassion his norm, imitation his art. Forget calculation, seek goodness as law. Let go fake religion. Make duty your all. For they are not civil who love piety, but vanquishing drivel, just will themselves free. And such was her sentiment. Such was her plea. Go seek self-salvation like good bourgeoisie. And when Taylor and Aaron looked up from their feet, every last breath was plumped back in his or her or its seat.